Coming up, from ICE on trial to students avoiding school, the latest on Chicago's immigrant roundup. Illinois and Indiana join the quest to redraw their districts. And Trump goes to China and brings home a trade deal. Plus, the South Side ump who made the World Series, gas prices taking a tumble, and the latest phone scam targeting your teeth. This is your Fox 32 Chicago Week in Review.
Customs and Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino will now have to check in with federal judge Sarah Ellis every single weekday as the judge tries to exert some oversight over his controversial raids.
Bovino made his way into the Dirksen Federal Building through assembled media and protesters this morning, federal agents in tow. Judge Ellis ordered his appearance after social media videos surfaced late last week and over the weekend, appearing to show Bovino's Customs and Border Patrol agents violating her orders not to use tear gas unless under imminent physical danger and after multiple verbal warnings. The Department of Homeland Security released its own video today, claiming to show a projectile near the direction of Bovino, before Bovino was caught on video tossing a tear gas canister. One problem, Bovino admits he wasn't wearing a body camera, violating another one of Judge Ellis's orders. Quote, "The cameras are your friends," Ellis said, "so when someone comes back and says something, it's all documented." Later adding, quote, "If someone's throwing a rock at your head, the camera will catch it." Enrique Baena recorded the Little Village standoff last week before being pelted with a pepper bullet. He says he did not witness the crowd of onlookers threatening or throwing anything at agents.
I've seen people get tackled. I've seen people get thrown into the cars, get thrown on the floor. It's like way too much aggression on their part.
Judge Ellis also referred to recorded footage of this weekend's action on a residential street in Old Irving Park, where residents witnessed tear gas, the takedown of a 70-year-old American citizen, and danger right near what was supposed to have been a children's Halloween parade. Irving Park resident Brian Culp says he and his neighbors were horrified by the conduct of Customs and Border Patrol agents.
But in no way, shape, or form did anything that anybody do that day on the street justify throwing a smoke grenade on my block or taking my 70-year-old neighbor to the ground and breaking 6 of his ribs.
Quote, "These kids' sense of safety was shattered Saturday," Ellis said, "and it's going to take a long time for that to come back, if ever. And not only was it shattered, but it's connected to something that should have been a happy day," urging the agents to cool it this Friday for Halloween. Bovino told the judge he would abide by her temporary restraining order.
And another order from the judge, Bovino himself has to get his body cam up and running by Friday. It's something he says he has yet to be trained on.
Dozens of high school students here in Little Village staged a midday walkout. At the same time, all eyes were on Dirksen as Gregory Bovino attended a federal hearing. As one of Border Patrol's top cops made his way into Dirksen, he was met with demonstrators, both for
I'm here to support ICE and Greg and everybody that's helping clean up our streets,
and against Operation Midway Blitz.
I think we're all disgusted that they're just disappearing people off the street, grabbing people without wearing any name insignias or numbers.
While he was facing a federal judge.
The people united will never be divided.
Students at the Little Village Lawndale High School campus, which is made up of 4 separate schools, walked out of class just before noon.
Most teachers are understanding and they know our backgrounds.
Marching along Costner Avenue and 26th Street until they reached the Little Village Arch, which serves as a gateway to their neighborhood.
We decided to do this march to speak up for those who can't speak up.
Students say they were inspired by their own families to take part in the peaceful protest.
I feel very proud of my community because I know that there's many people out there who came here for a better living, such as my parents. They came from Mexico and I'm doing this for them.
Let's say the parents that are home, they could be watching us. I know my mom was watching and she said that she's glad that I'm out here doing what she can do.
After marching for about 2 hours, they went back to class and say it won't be the last time they make their voices heard. Now, there are a number of bills that immigration advocates want to see taken up during this week's fall veto session in Springfield, one of which would protect undocumented immigrants from being detained on their way to or at local courthouses.
The days and nights pass on Capitol Hill without a solution, and those shutdown signs are a constant reminder of the slow-motion standoff. But lawmakers from both parties are looking at the calendar.
I could keep our eye on November the 1st. November the 1st, our air traffic controllers will miss another paycheck. The military's due another paycheck right then. I think that'll probably be the sentinel moment that pushes us forward.
And the USDA, which administers SNAP food benefits, posted a warning. Bottom line, the well has run dry. At this time, there will be no benefits issued November 1st. The Post also blames Democrats, who in turn blame Republicans.
The government is shut down because Republicans have done something unprecedented. They have refused to talk to Democrats about a bipartisan budget.
Democrats are still refusing to reopen the government without a renewal of COVID-era price supports for Obamacare plans, and we will soon see the new prices. But it may be air travel that finally breaks the fever if millions of Americans find themselves stuck as more air traffic controllers call in sick. Veterans of the last shutdown, which set a record, remember how it played out.
At about the 25-day point out of 35, the stress on the controllers is really what broke the shutdown at that time, and we ended it.
And our Doug Luzader joins us live in Washington now. So Doug, explain. So if the Senate changes the bill in any way, shape, or form, then the House needs to be called back, correct, to revote on the changes, and then it goes back. Explain the process for people.
Yeah, I mean, if the Senate makes any changes here, the House has already passed a measure to keep the government open. If the Senate changes it at all, the House will have to come back to town to make their own changes or approve it, whatever they want to do. But I will say that we have learned this morning that the American Federation of Government Employees, this is like 800,000 federal workers, is now calling for the passage of this continuing resolution. This is a major bit of news here as we look ahead to, again, possible votes in the Senate this week. This is more pressure now coming from a union that is typically aligned with Democrats.
Wow, okay, that could be the pressure needed to finally end this stalemate.
Illinois' reputation already precedes it as one of the most heavily gerrymandered states in the country. The maps here have helped give Democrats a 14-3 advantage in Congress. But now, U.S. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries says the state should go even further to counteract the Trump administration's aggressive remap campaign in states like Indiana and Texas.
Jeffries is in Springfield today meeting with House Speaker Chris Welch after a meeting in Chicago with African-American members of Congress this morning. Jeffries says Illinois has a role to play in combating Trump's moves.
Democrats have made clear that we are going to respond, as is being done in California right now, appropriately, immediately, and forcefully, to ensure that the national congressional map is as fair as it can possibly be, so that we allow for free and fair elections and the American people can decide, not Donald Trump.
The move comes as Indiana Republican Governor Mike Braun has called a special session to consider a Republican-favored remap. And on day one of Illinois political candidates filing their nominating petitions to run in the 2026 midterms. Candidates like Governor Pritzker were up early to get their paperwork in. The governor did not commit one way or another on a mid-decade remap, but says it doesn't have to happen overnight.
And so that's something I think we're all going to have to look at during the process here. But it doesn't have to happen during veto session. It could happen after that. But right now, I think there's just a lot of conversation going on.
Potential new maps could net Democrats a pickup of one seat, giving them a possible 15-2 advantage in Congress. State Senator Willie Preston, who is running for Congress in the Southside 2nd District, says he'll only sign on if a new map doesn't take away black political representation.
We have to fight fire with fire when necessary, but if it dilutes the black vote in any the 1st, the 2nd, or the 7th congressional district, the answer is hell no.
Meanwhile, Illinois Republicans say Jeffries should be in Washington, not Illinois, working with Republicans to reopen government. And that, quote, J.B. Pritzker and Illinois Democrats have already gerrymandered Illinois to hell and back, creating one of the most partisan maps in history. While Democrats continue to play partisan games, the Illinois Republican Party will continue to fight for fair maps and representation.
Now, can Illinois actually redraw the maps in time for the midterms after nominating petitions have already come in, and those are based on the current maps? That's a legal question nobody seems to know the answer to.
Did you see him before tonight? You literally going through him and talking about picking up the garbage. As much money as I pay, you better come get the garbage, Mr. Rogers. What's I will see y'all in 2027. I don't care when you see me. Listen, you need to hear. Don't yell at me. Shut up. You're misinformed. I'm not misinformed. I live here.
The financial crisis has left first responders, including Harvey firefighters, stretched thin. Our Casey Cronin has more on how that department is holding up.
Today, there were just 5 firefighters working for the entire city, and yesterday there were only 4. We still don't know how long all of this could go on, but firefighters here worry they'll eventually get burnt out. Each alarm is a reminder that Harvey firefighters are doing more with less.
We are firemen. When people call 911, we are here to respond to the emergencies that they have. So when you call 911, that door is going to roll up, that rig's going to roll out, and it's going to roll out with however many people we can get on it for the day. But there is a concern not only from the citizens but for the men as well, that with a significant reduction in staffing, the job is going to be much more dangerous for us. And because it's much more dangerous for us, it's going to be much more dangerous for the citizens.
Lieutenant Keith Freeman is the secretary of Harvey Firemen's Association Local 471 and explains that instead of the mandatory 7-man minimum to keep all 3 stations open, fewer hands on deck has become the reality.
Because of the layoffs, we've been forced to close down one of the outlying stations.
17 of the department's 37 firefighters were furloughed, while Harvey Mayor Christopher Clark asks for financial help under the state's distressed city law. The firefighters union has been in meetings with the mayor in recent days, working to bring firefighters back as soon as possible.
The guys are hurting. The guys in the department are hurt, and they are hurting, and they'll continue to hurt until we can bring them back.
It's leaving some firefighters looking for side gigs to pay the bills. Freeman says members can test with other departments, but that's not ideal.
You're coming in as a rookie or a probationary fireman, and that process takes months, sometimes years, to get hired on.
In an emergency, Harvey firefighters will get help from neighboring departments as part of the mutual aid box alarm system. But right now, they don't have the capacity to give help to other cities.
There's a tremendous amount of pride in this department. The guys who come to this department because they want to be Harvey firemen, and I know that a number of them would love to have their jobs back, and I know a lot of them would return if they could return quickly.
On the law enforcement side, Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart is bringing additional patrols to the city to help offset the impact to the local police force.
Right, guys, there's a lot of people affected in this. I just talked to some travelers here, and they said they were worried as they prep for travel today. They've been having a pretty smooth experience, but the U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, putting this warning out, saying air traffic controllers are, quote, wearing thin. He said just on Saturday there was 22 locations that had staffing issues, and this comes up as on Tuesday, which would be 28 days of the government shutdown. That would be the first full paycheck they won't be getting during this shutdown, and Sean Duffy predicts travelers will see more flight delays after that and says it's a big stressor on controllers and their families.
At a big fat zero, no paycheck is coming on Tuesday, and so I've been out talking to our air traffic controllers, and you can see the stress. These are people that oftentimes live paycheck to paycheck, or one controller has a stay-at-home spouse. They're concerned about gas in the car. They're concerned about child care and mortgages.
These TSA workers' incentive to go to work.
Coming up, Trump goes to China and brings home a trade deal. Gas prices take a tumble, and some full-body fun and games.
Starting off with an article you guys have about Southside residents, they're suing a vegetable oil plant.
That's right.
Talk me through what's happening.
This is down
there.
in South Deering, almost in Indiana. Really big industrial area to begin with, and for years these noxious fumes have been coming from this plant, this vegetable oil plant in the neighborhood, smelling like feces, vomit, dead bodies. It smells really bad, and so basically there's been a lawsuit for years in the works, and now a judge has ruled that it can become a class action and basically bring in up to 2,400 or so households in the area who can sue over this pretty big quality of life issue. So this is a case we're tracking.
It's funny, I've heard of noise pollution, I've heard of light pollution, but not like
smell
scent.
pollution.
Yeah,
it's a real thing, especially in this, there's been tons of industry over there for years, and so there's other issues too with other plants in the area.
Okay, so you can read up on that. Next, this is kind of cool here. It's called the Tiger Moon Market. This is bringing a bunch of Asian American restaurants together. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so Ed Marzewski, who's kind of the so-called mayor of Bridgeport on the south side, he runs a couple restaurants and some bars in the brewery. He's Asian American. He's bringing together almost 3 dozen other Asian American restaurant owners and chefs to basically do a fundraiser for immigrant rights groups. And this is going to be at the Ramova Theater in Bridgeport on Monday, basically offering different dishes, unique dishes, all different kinds of Asian food, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, all over the place. So it's a pretty cool event, and there's also going to be some DJs and other live music and entertainment.
So the idea is these restaurants come together, you pay an admission fee, all the proceeds go
to different groups.
Okay.
We're working with immigrant communities right now.
Nice idea, nice idea. I understand there's also a new bar en route to Westtown.
Yeah, so on Chicago Avenue, which has become kind of West Loop 2.0, although neighbors there might differ with that characterization. But this is a kind of nicer, higher-end cocktail bar called Bar Bambi. Basically a veteran bartender, Katie Renshaw, who works at the Aviary, Billy Sunday. She's finally going out on her own, and she's going to be doing this kind of sleek interior, classic cocktails with some twists, some newer experimentation, forced carbonation, that kind of thing.
Chicago Avenue, every time I drive that stretch, it feels like it's just like,
there's
booming, so much going on
and there's
there.
so many independent businesses there. There are very few chains, which I think is really cool.
It's really cool. Well, it's great to see her strike out on her own and test the waters there. Okay, finally, before we let you go, Quinn, you got a little feature on your site with some Chicago-inspired Halloween costumes for like us procrastinators. We got 3 days
I know,
left
I'm still trying to figure out my costume, but the Blues Brothers, classic. Siskel and Ebert could be a pretty easy one. Throw on a sweater and get a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
And like a bald cap.
Morton Salt Girl was one. Bozo the Clown. So there are some ideas up on our site if you want to take a look about what could work best. There we go. Oh, and then
the Pope.
The Pope would be a really easy one. You just get like a robe like that and maybe a little headpiece.
Cap.
And you'll maybe some White Sox gear.
Carry. Oh,
if you want to get a couple old styles and kind of be really loud at whatever Halloween party you're going to, that would be a good one.
Look at that. That brings me back in time. I'm a Cub fan and a Bud man. Although old style, that's right. He was affiliated with that too.
President Trump will spend the day in Japan after signing a new trade deal with the country that will provide critical rare earth minerals to the United States, as well as increase commerce. But the big meeting that everybody's going to be watching happens later this week in South Korea when Trump meets with China's president. North Central College political science professor William Muck joins us now. What so far, Professor, are your takeaways from the president's trip thus far?
Yeah, I think, just the fact that the trip is occurring is really important. So for the second Trump administration, they've really been focusing on Latin America and Europe and the United States. There hasn't been as much attention on Asia. And so this is a really good chance to get a sense of how this administration understands Asia and the countries within that region. What is the relationship with China going to look like? What about our allies with Japan and South Korea? So many of those details we need to figure out where this administration is going to be. So this trip allows us to get a sense of that. And I think the big picture you just mentioned is that we may be drifting towards a trade truce with China, which that's a big development. That would be a big thing for the U.S. economy and the global economy.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot riding on this meeting with China. How do you expect that to be handled by President Trump, and what are the possible outcomes?
It's a tricky one because we're thinking about economics, right? For the Trump administration, they're really thinking about how do we get access to Chinese markets. You know, the fact that China cut off purchasing soybeans has been a big deal. These rare earth minerals, all of these things are important to the U.S. economy as they are to the Chinese economy. So how do you navigate and move into a more productive, managed relationship? But at the same time, there are also these security issues, a rising China in the region, you know, tension between the two countries. So you have to navigate both economic and security issues. And that's why so much of this happens behind the scenes, because you don't want it playing out in public, because that makes it much more difficult.
Yeah, with those rare earths, I mean, that is just going to be so important for everything moving forward as technology advances. I had read something like China possesses 60% of the world's rare earths. So, I mean, it's incredible. How does this trip, you think, fit into President Trump's foreign policy narrative? Is this more of a show of dominance promoting the U.S. as a world power, or maybe a visit that further fosters a relationship with U.S. allies?
This is a really important question because we'll get a sense at the end of this trip how we're going to understand the foreign policy of the Trump administration. So there's been a much more, I think, reserved approach to U.S. foreign policy under the second Trump administration. It's less about global leadership and dominance, and it's more about let's have managed relationships. And so countries like Japan and South Korea are trying to figure out, where is the United States? You know, is the U.S. Security commitment still the same as it was before? So this trip will allow us to get a sense of what kind of role does the United States want to play in Asia. You know, historically, for the last few administrations, the United States has said we are an Asian power and we are going to be there. I think the Trump administration has much more of a transactional approach. And so we're going to get a sense by the end of this trip is how central does the United States view Asia and what kind of role do they want to play in there. So I think we're going to learn much more over the next few days and weeks.
Okay, I'm going to throw a wild card your way. There are rumors that maybe President Trump will extend his trip to meet with the leader of North Korea. What do you think the odds of that are?
It's always hard to know because Donald Trump has a real affinity for these meetings with Kim Jong-un, and you never know until they actually happen. Sometimes it sounds like it's not going to happen, then it does. I think for Trump, the question is it valuable? So in the first administration, they had a couple meetings, and it didn't really fundamentally address the nuclear issue. Now, it was great for attention. I think Trump likes building relationships, but it didn't really achieve any of the administration goals. So I think that's the question they have to grapple with. Are we going to get anything done versus does Trump really enjoy the pomp and circumstance of having that meeting? So my guess is it probably doesn't happen, but I'm usually wrong when we start to think about these things.
A lot of the drivers I spoke with are happy that they're able to finally save some money at the pump, which is nice considering that Thanksgiving and Christmas are just around the corner. Drivers in the South, in states like Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Louisiana, are seeing the lowest gas prices at around $2.50 a gallon. Meanwhile, drivers out west in places like Chicago, Washington, and Hawaii are paying as much as $4.50 per gallon. Gas Buddy's latest report shows the national average is down 10.8 cents from a month ago and is 7.4 cents lower than a year ago. Analysts say a few factors are at play when bringing these gas prices down. First, Americans typically travel less during the upcoming winter months, so that lowers demand. Pair that with an abundance of oil on the market, plus cheaper winter blend gas at the pump, and that all adds up to some much-needed relief for drivers, and they hope that prices keep going down.
Anything to save money. Gas prices being lower. More trips, more money, more Christmas presents, happier world.
If we all can come together just to make the prices lower, it'll be better, but it's really not getting no lower.
However, Gas Buddy analysts predict that a potential breakthrough in trade talks between President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping later this week could cause prices to swell again.
The potential for lower tariffs and more trade means a more robust economy, which can pull oil prices up because the trickle down is that a positive trade deal would probably lead to an increase in economic prosperity in both countries. And just like the opposite, bad economic news generally pushes prices down. That is, less economic activity leads to lower oil demand, which pushes prices lower.
And another potential wild card in all of this is the effectiveness of President Trump's recent sanctions on Russian oil. Experts say that prices could go back up if those sanctions prevent Russian oil from getting into the markets as easily as it usually does, but overall they expect the prices to go down by Thanksgiving.
fear of federal agents has made the streets less busy in Little Village. Business is down more than 50%. The attendance at church and school dwindling. But with all this going on, one agency has made it a mission to keep people connected. Volunteers are packing 30-pound boxes of emergency food for people who can't get to the store during this turbulent time of immigration enforcement. When federal agents swept through Little Village last week, tear gassing and tackling protesters at the discount mall, New Life Center's rapid response teams were on the ground.
You could feel the intensity of the situation. You could feel the sense of fear in the community, but you could feel that strong sense of, I'm here, I have a voice, it needs to be heard.
Now they're giving rapid response teams gas masks and safety equipment.
For the first time in my 25 years, we ordered respirators and gas masks. We ordered whistles. We ordered all kinds of things for keeping rapid responders safe. And so using those supplies, we then distribute them across the network.
They started the Community Care Resource Center to prepare for increased demand when the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program loses federal funding. It's a 20,000 square foot warehouse where provisions are collected, sorted, and distributed. Families too afraid to leave their homes for provisions need food, diapers, seasonal clothes, and hygiene products for the long haul.
And we have families who don't even want to go take their kids to school or even go to the medical, to facility, because I know there's people even needing medication.
New Life Centers has about 8 people working at the Community Resource Center, and they say if the public wants to do something and you're not comfortable going out and protesting, you can go to the center and volunteer.
And in line with what's happening here and across the country, Indiana's Republican governor just announced he will be calling a special session to consider redrawing that state's congressional map. So joining us now to discuss the issue is political science professor Aaron Dussel. He's with the Indiana University, Indianapolis. Thanks so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you.
So what do Republicans think they can achieve in terms of remapping?
Well, I mean, Indiana's already gerrymandered heavily by the Republicans. They win 7 of the 9 seats. And if we would expect that if we ran all 9 of these districts in kind of an open election, they would probably only win 5 of them. So they're probably already getting 2 extra seats right now. And so the real question is, do they go after one or both of the Democrat seats right now?
And they've been holding out on this for a while. What do you think changed their mind?
I mean, what it sounds like is that the last few holdouts in the Indiana Senate, Republicans have decided to switch from undecided to supporting a redrawing of the map, and that's the impetus behind Braun calling for the special session right now.
Is it guaranteed this would get done in time for the 2026 elections?
Yeah, in Indiana, Republicans have a supermajority in both the House and the Senate, so it's not a problem for them to control the rules and the process. And so all that matters is getting enough votes behind them before they even call the session. So the fact that they've called the session suggests they're going to get it done.
Any surveys, any indication out there of what Indiana residents themselves think about all of this? What are they feeling?
I mean, a lot of it falls along partisan lines, but in general, people don't see this midterm, decade redistricting as a positive thing. They see the partisan, angle to it, and they're not particularly happy with it.
Coming
Duke
up,
says she
one
couldn't take it
woman's
anymore.
fight against domestic violence, the Southside ump who made the World Series, and some full-body fun and games. Fox Local, your smart TV source for wearing the badge, tackling Chicago crime from the cops' POV.
I had those conversations with people in the neighborhood, including gangbangers.
Weekends at 6 or stream anytime on Fox Local.
I'm a survivor of human trafficking and domestic violence myself. At the age of 13, I had an unfortunate encounter that caused me to be pregnant at the age of 13. I had my daughter at 14 who ended up saving my life, actually.
Pamela Dukes is not just an advocate, she is a survivor. At 13 years old, her life was shattered by someone she thought she could trust. An older man posing as a friend raped her, got her pregnant, and then forced her into a violent, controlling relationship that lasted for years.
I was told, give it to me or I'm gonna take it. And I was like, I'm not giving you anything. And they took it. And I got pregnant from that encounter. And then I was made to be with him. I went through a domestic violence situation for probably about 4 or 5 years, beaten beyond my mother's recognition. She came into a hospital room and didn't even know who I was. Was a victim of human trafficking by actually friends, you know, or people who I thought were friends. They were older than me.
The years that followed were marked by brutal domestic violence. After being hogtied and kidnapped, that's when Duke slowly but surely started to unravel the years of abuse.
Hogtied me and beat me constantly for a 3-day stint. Would feed me, would come bring food, feed me, untie me for me to eat, tie me back up for 3 days. He ran out of money, and I used to work at a grocery store, and I knew that I had a check at the grocery store, and so I said, maybe I could just put my hood on and go and get my check. And he walked me to the grocery store to get the check, and I never came back out.
Dukes ran into the arms of other employees at the grocery store to get help. Still, the psychological grip was strong, so that relief from abuse was only temporary.
I knew that sometimes just going back would be easier, because otherwise I'm still in high school, he's gonna meet me at the school, and I'm gonna be beat up, or he's gonna meet me at the daycares. And either my daughter is not gonna be picked up, now I'm gonna have to deal with DCFS. So I knew sometimes it would just be easier to go back and maybe I could appease him.
Duke says she couldn't take it anymore. After years of beatings and control by the man who raped her, a drug dealer, she saw only one way out. She made a calculated decision, go to law enforcement, not just anyone, but the narcotics division. She knew if they could arrest him on drug charges, it might be her only shot at freedom, and it worked. He was eventually sent to prison. With her abuser behind bars, Dukes finally had the space and safety to begin her escape.
I felt like either I'm gonna die running away or I'm gonna die in it, and I'd rather be trying to escape. Every time I knew that, you know, he would be carrying, I contacted them, and eventually he was taken to jail.
Now Duke serves as Director of Victim Support Services for the Cook County Sheriff's Police, where she helps others break free from the very cycles that once ensnared her. She's not just behind a desk, she's in the field.
Seat right here. All right.
During sting operations where Johns expect to buy sex, they instead receive an education on human trafficking and domestic violence. Dukes ensures survivors have access to safety plans, advocacy, and the resources needed to rebuild their lives.
I'm sure you know about the power and control that comes with domestic violence. And so being able to help a person to be educated, to safety plan with them, it is really important to the Sheriff's Office to make sure that as victim support services advocates that we safety plan with victims to try to help them to keep themselves safe. That we also connect them with domestic violence agencies, that they'll have an advocate that can follow them throughout their situation. Because sometimes their situation is connected to their means of living, their means of taking care of their families. And so you can't just go to a person's situation and try to just snatch them out of it. You have to be able to work with them through their process.
Pamela Duke's message is clear. Survival is possible, and no one has to endure their pain alone.
But I knew that part of my story and part of my calling was going to be to help other people in these kinds of situations, because I don't know how I knew to do that. I can only say it was God or faith. I just knew that I needed to get out, and I knew I wanted to get out alive. And God did the rest.
Chicago Public Schools do not plan on offering remote learning for students. Chalkbeat reporter Mila Kumpilova joins us now to talk about it. Mila, good morning. I want to start off by asking you, can you kind of run us through the basics of why CTU is concerned here?
Well, as you mentioned, the district has seen stepped up immigration enforcement and increasingly more presence of immigration agents in the vicinity of schools. And there's a lot of concern that that is causing some families to keep their students at home because of fears of encountering agents during pickup and drop-off.
Okay, so what are the attendance records? I'm not sure if you have any insight into that, but is attendance down?
Chalkbeat did get some attendance data from earlier in the school year, and then district officials discussed attendance briefly during a school board meeting last week. From what we've seen and what we're hearing from the district, attendance is roughly on par with this period last year. There are some schools in predominantly Latino neighborhoods, though, that have seen more significant attendance drops at the start of the school year.
Okay. Do we have any indication on whether the school district might reevaluate the decision to not offer remote learning? Could they change their minds?
Well, district officials have said that this is actually not their decision, that they can only offer this if Governor Pritzker makes an emergency declaration. The Chicago Teachers Union has countered that the district already has a virtual academy. It's a very small online school that is just geared towards students with significant medical issues that get in the way of coming to school. And interestingly, more recently, Mayor Brandon Johnson, though, has also said that the governor needs to step in and allow this. And the governor has said that he is not seriously considering that.
Okay, yeah, and as you mentioned, he would need to declare a state of emergency, which could change the picture here. In the meantime, Mila, let me ask you this. What measures are being taken to protect students to and from school? I know we've heard about these whistles. Are there like safe passage workers out there?
Some of these measures are taken at the district level with more support for schools that have experienced more immigration enforcement in their neighborhoods. More staff is being stationed outside, but also, as you mentioned, neighbors have really come together in some cases with presence to support families picking off and dropping off kids, and these walking buses where people are accompanied to and from school.
While social media can be used to help spread information, medical experts say not all of it may be accurate, as they warn folks about easily trusting online health tips. This is a growing number of dentists say taking a bite out of certain tooth content you see online could wind up being catastrophic to your chompers. According to Dr. Matthew Messina of The Ohio State University,
one of the biggest things that I see with TikTok trends is people, if they don't want to go to the dentist, they're looking for some easier, quicker DIY hack for something.
Dr. Messina recommends asking your dentist before trying a trend and says not every tip you see is guaranteed to provide the same results for everyone.
It may have worked for this influencer, but you don't have the same problem they do, or you're coming from a different place, and you may be actually making your situation worse.
Some do-it-yourself trends can even wear away at a tooth's enamel, the hard outer layer that protects the tooth from damage like cavities.
There's talk about charcoal. Charcoal's very abrasive. So, can I whiten teeth by using an abrasive? Yes. In the same way that I can take my hardwood floors in the house and make them lighter by sanding them.
Meanwhile, Dr. Messina says don't use hacks as a replacement for actual medical care, and he recommends focusing on these strategies for maintaining healthy teeth and gums.
Brushing twice a day, flossing or cleaning between your teeth with a water flosser once a day, eating a healthy diet.
Always a Chicago connection. The umpire who will be behind home plate tonight is from Evergreen Park. The man's last name literally has ump in it, so that feels like destiny. John Payton graduated from St. Lawrence High in Burbank, Illinois. He went to umpire school right after senior year, spent years calling games in small towns before joining the majors in 2010. This is his first World Series. His friend Adam remembers driving him to Little League games back when they were teens. Even then, he says John, a.k.a. the Ripper, carried himself like a pro.
I would sit there and watch him do them, and he was doing them like a professional umpire at 16 years old. It was a long process. He went pretty much from high school, and he started just like a player would in rookie ball, and made his way up, through the minor league ranks, and he definitely did his time.
Oh, he is one of 7 officials assigned to the series. Each takes a turn at different positions. Tonight, the Ripper works home plate for Game 4.
Coming up, some full-body fun and games. Jake previews Emma Stone's newest movie. And we end the week with a little music. Fox Local, your smart TV source for Good Day Chicago.
We are continuing to follow breaking news this morning.
I like this palette.
The blue.
We got a lot more fun coming up this morning.
Weekday mornings on Fox Local.
You can come out here for an hour and a half and not play the same game twice. Just take a look at this. Whether you want to play one of their games, Strike, they got Laser. Of course, you just saw a couple of minutes ago, they got Hoops. Endless games out here at Activate Chicago. It's a place that kind of requires you to use your physical skills as well as your mental skills as well. We're here with the general manager, William. William, thank you for having us this morning. This is a really cool experience because it's not just running around pressing buttons. You got to use a little bit of this and then whatever kind of physical ability you have as well.
Yeah, all of our games challenge you either cooperatively or competitively. So you have to be sharper and faster than everyone else.
And this is a lot of fun if you want to bring a group out. He said it's about 60 minutes or 90 minutes. And the big thing that I love is free play. It's not like you have to pick a room at 6:05 and the next room at 6:15. Once you have that hour or that hour and a half, it's whatever games you want to play, however many times you want to do it.
Exactly. There's no limit. Some of our guests, as they come back more and more, fall in love with rooms and then just go into those higher levels, getting more and more challenging.
And are you finding, because I've already gotten a little taste of the competitiveness, that when the groups come out, they're really kind of going at each other?
They always start cooperative, and then I'll catch them about halfway into their free play, turning on each other.
All right, guys. I'll let you sort of commentate on this. PlayActivate.com, Activate Chicago, one of 3 locations. You guys are also in Naperville, Oakbrook. We're in River North right now. So, guys, take a look at this. I'm the blue. We're going to hit the start button. We got about a couple of seconds. Come on inside, and let's see how well we're going to do. No pressure. 2, 1. Here we go. I missed my first one. I didn't know Jake was a lefty. You know, I was doing really well before we went live.
There's one.
God, I got one.
You got a good form.
Okay, Kaplan, I don't need you commentating every single time I get one.
Oh my God.
You know what?
You said we went away from Jake's basket.
Yeah. How many? There's one. Good. Try.
You don't have to make a big deal just whenever I get one. Like I promise, I'm really good.
Oh, that was all net.
All right, it's Activate Chicago.
Okay, that's good.
Want to come out here? There are a lot of games that we haven't even had time to show you guys this morning.
You're on a roll.
What I can tell you is that it's a lot of little mental skills. Because like right now, it's the physicality and the mentality of dealing with my co-anchors who are judging me with every shot. Okay, of course I make it whenever it's not playing anymore.
The guys are judging.
Activate Chicago.
Other people get more practice.
All right, guys, here we go.
You win in our book.
I was blown away. Are you winded from that?
I'm a little winded, but I'm also going to be honest with you. This jacket is way too tight to play basketball in. So
that's true.
You might be ready for
Are we going again?
You might be ready for
Okay, all right, here. Let's press it. You know what? As we toss it back to you guys, I'm going to hit the start one more time.
Okay.
It's going.
All right, good luck.
Oh, here we go.
It's going to be any better than the last
First one was just a practice round. That was just a practice
break.
And that's 0 for 1.
Now that was preseason.
No, that is. No, now you're on a. Oh, no. Yeah.
What a day at Lindop Elementary School in Broadview.
Let's get to it. So who's ready to get some shoes?
Chicago Bears linebacker Tremaine Edmonds with a big play. He is partnering with the nonprofit Shoes That Fit to give just that to more than 300 kids.
I just want to get back to the kids. You know, growing up, I was a kid that once loved shoes. I still love shoes now. But, I'm aware that a lot of kids wear shoes that don't fit, or a lot of kids wear shoes, that might be beaten up a little bit. So just partner up with the program and the community just to give back and, put a smile on these kids' faces.
For some kids, back to school is filled with anxiety about fitting in.
We know that children sometimes in underserved areas, parents have multiple children, so they're not always able to get brand new shoes all the time.
Shoes That Fit says 1 in 7 children across the U.S. live in poverty, and new shoes are a luxury that many families can't afford.
You know, we all didn't get to the places that we got to by ourselves. It takes a community, it takes a village to raise a child, and, you know, with help from everybody, you know what I mean? So just doing my part and just giving back in the best way that I can, I mean, that's what I'm all here for.
And here he is with a bear-sized stack of all brand new athletic shoes.
All of our students got a pair of shoes thanks to the wonderful Mr. Edmonds. He was very generous to come out and make sure that every single student from pre-K to 8th grade received shoes. And it's just an amazing experience for our students.
It shows our children what's possible, what's important, that you know, you're fit and you're healthy so that you can stay smart and keep studying.
And the kids are ready to run, especially this future football player.
I got the Adidas, and he had signed my box. Everybody's happy and appreciative of what they got and grateful, especially me.
You gotta want to impact the community. You gotta want to, you know, see the reaction on the kids' faces, and, you know, you gotta want to just be a positive role model in the community.
Where's my hair?
Your hair has been destroyed.
You shaved off my hair?
Yes, we have shaved off your hair.
Why have you shaved off my hair?
To prevent you from contacting your ship.
My ship?
Your ship.
What ship?
Your mothership.
Someone has some explaining to do. Two-time Oscar winner Emma Stone returned to the big screen this weekend in the new thriller Bugonia. Stone shaved her head to play an executive who's kidnapped by people who think she's actually an alien.
A lot to talk about here. Jake sat down with Emma and her co-star to talk all about the film and shaving her head for the part.
I feel like each of your characters are seeing this scenario totally different. For Michelle, this is a kidnapping situation.
There is no possible scenario where you benefit from this incident.
For Teddy, he is literally saving the world from aliens.
To prevent you from contacting your ship.
What ship?
Your mothership.
And I'd imagine because these two characters are so different, it yielded two different experiences for you as actors. So I'd love to know, what is something about the experience of the person sitting next to you you're most curious about? Something that their character had to experience, something their job as an actor required, that you'd just be curious to maybe even try yourself?
Great question. But that's what's so interesting about both of these characters is they're coming at saving the world in completely different ways, and neither one of them is particularly right. But they're not necessarily wrong either. They're not all wrong.
And they're not all right, yeah.
That's right.
Where's my hair?
Your hair has been destroyed.
You shaved off my hair?
Yes, we have shaved off your hair.
Why have you shaved off my hair?
Emma, whenever an actor shaves their head for a role, oftentimes they talk about the challenges and the pressures and the importance of staying in character while it's happening, because you really only have that one take.
Oh, right.
But I feel like you're given a really unique experience because Michelle is unconscious while her head is being shaved. So you really don't get to react in that moment. I'd love to know, how did that small detail change your experience as an actor compared to what it would have been like if she'd been awake during the process?
Oh, I mean, I don't know any other way because I've never done it before, but it was, no, it was great. It was great to be just eyes closed, just sit still, just sit still. It was good.
Yeah, just feeling it.
Just feeling it. Yeah. But it was a real pressure off, you know, to just lay down.
The Chicago Jazz Philharmonic is paying tribute to one of the most influential artists in American music history, the legendary Miles Davis. This weekend, the Philharmonic presents Miles Davis at 100, the prelude, a celebration of Davis's life and legacy through music, film, and conversation. Joining us this morning is Orbert Davis, no relation to Miles. He is the artistic director and co-founder of the Chicago Jazz Philharmonic. To talk more about this incredible event, Orbert, thanks for coming back. I know you've been a friend of the program before.
Absolutely.
First of all, you're playing the same instrument that Miles Davis picked up.
Yeah.
What did he mean to you, particularly maybe as a foundation for your playing that you bring to bear today?
You know, it's funny. When I first was introduced to Miles, I couldn't understand him. Because, I was with Freddie Hubbard and Dizzy Gillespie, Rafael Mendez. It's like, he plays so easy, you know?
Yeah. Well, that was that whole birth of the cool.
Oh,
it was just...
absolutely. But then as I matured, and it's just that he's the foundation for modern jazz. Absolutely.
And what is it like for the Philharmonic to be able to really pay honor to Miles Davis?
Absolutely. This is not actually our first time. I actually wrote a piece. I rewrote his Sketches of Spain a few years ago. I called it Sketches of Spain Revisited. So throughout my whole career, it's been about not only as a composer, but as a trumpet player. And so I get to balance those two worlds, and he influences it all.
What do you like better, writing or playing?
They're equal. They're
Okay.
the same thing.
Okay.
Jazz improvisation
because
is
you're
composition.
writing it in your head as you're going
exactly
on, right?
And
Yeah.
for the orchestra, I put it on paper.
How about this? Usually we think of jazz, it might be a combo with a handful of players. It might be a big band where you have, maybe 20-something. You got a bigger group.
Yeah.
So how do you manage, that kind of orchestral scene for jazz?
Well, Miles Davis sets the pace. He led by example. And so if I'm conducting, I expect a high level from the musicians, but I really don't tell them what to do. The music and the aesthetic and what they can do dictates itself. And I think that's what I've learned from Miles Davis.
What is the audience going to get when they attend the tribute to Miles this upcoming? And tell the day, you got 2 days of this, right?
Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. So Friday we're doing a workshop for students, open rehearsal.
Okay.
Saturday we have a film, Birth of the Cool, and a conversation with Miles Davis's nephew and Mark Ruffin, who's the director of Sirius XM Real Jazz. Right. So the three of us are going to talk it up and really get the inside truth. But the music, we call it Davis Plays Davis. We're focusing on, in less than 2 hours, the complete career of Miles Davis, from the birth of the cool all the way to his.
And this is going back to like 40s and 50s.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is back there with Parker and
that's right.
The whole gang. You mentioned Dizzy Gillespie also. Your cheeks fill up.
No.
Well, you brought you brought the horn. It would be remiss upon me if I didn't at least ask you to maybe, can you play something that might honor Miles Davis in a way, it'll put your own stamp on something?
Sure. I might have to use your mic, maybe. I'll point in your direction.
Point it here. Yeah, lean in here, man.
Oh, there's the vibrato. I'm sorry. I did do it.
Wait a minute.
I cheated.
Miles is but you said vibrato as the music calls for it. That's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.